It has reached the high heavens, the scream by Nigeria about corruption in the judiciary. I think, and this is something I think the government has to take with the judiciary itself. Let the judiciary look into it very hard. But the judiciary is virtually a sitting duck. It's what the police take to them. It's what the lawyers present to them. So really to blame the judiciary, they are putting them in a very, very difficult position because they cannot act on themselves. There must be, contribution from other institutions for the judiciary to be corrupt.
But what would you say about those who are making the allegations that our judiciary is quite corrupt and somewhat
Well,
inept?
they have to prove it. This is why the judiciary is there. Let them make some sacrifice by trying and catching a judge by either sending him marked money or something. Otherwise, how can you just sit and blame, say the judiciary is corrupt? It takes two to a tango, as they say. Somebody must be offering.
And somebody taken.
Exactly.
Okay. Very quickly then, because we've got over 1,000, let me take this one. Richard Galadima, he says, Mr. President, will the federal government, during your tenure, maintain the 18,000 Naira minimum wage?
These are the type of questions that I cannot answer in an ad hoc way. I know NLC has been threatened that they will not revert, but you also know that when we came in, we have to deal with an issue where 27 of the 36 states couldn't pay salaries in Nigeria. I wonder whether the Nigerian elite has recovered from that shock. 27 out of the 36 Nigerian states couldn't pay salaries. So the federal government has to sit with central bank through ways and means to give them money to go and pay salaries. I think that's the least the government can do. So the cost of minimum wage, I don't think the federal government, I assure you, will not touch that. But to the state governments, we cannot go over the states. Every state, no state will agree to merge with another. Every state wants to stand on its own and to insist on having how many commissioners. If you could repose out a time, we leave the number.
naira that Mr. President promised?
We have to give that job, unfortunately, to the Ministry of Labor and Productivity.
When will they have the job? Because at the moment it doesn't look like they're doing anything about it.
The Ministry of Labor has to try to lead in this government promise, because that is the executive ministry.
Okay. We have another one here where first one on international. T. Naye, he says the proposed ban on international transactions on MasterCard will negatively affect plans to pursue international certification. And he's referring to the fact that he's a student and he will not be able to do transactions to make even basic payment because of this. And if a young man, as we have on social media, have situations where they cannot study abroad, they cannot pay their school fees, they cannot even buy forms online because they cannot do transactions that include foreign currency, then it looks like it's a dire situation they find themselves.
It is. It is. And during our course of discussion, I mentioned that the system of using the card has been so thoroughly abused. The central bank has got, I think, some of these issues. But I don't believe the government should sit and blame those that are abusing the system to deny citizens the opportunity, to continue. We are not talking of the new ones. We are talking of the ones that are already there as students. Therefore, there's a commitment for them. And I believe the Ministry of Education, the Central Bank, the Ministry of Finance will have to sit down and quickly gather the data and see how much the government can take for those that are already outside. The cost of new ones, I think will receive less priority than those that are already there, because they have to continue. Otherwise, they may lose a semester or something like that.
Okay. Architect Michael Azimi, whose name on Twitter is Obeme101, he says we need to have a situation where we have 60% of the budget spent on capital projects. Mm-hmm. Will Mr. President commit to making this happen before the end of your tenure in 2019?
I'm going to pray very hard and work very hard that to happen, because no matter how much I try, if the cost of crude oil keep on going down, it will not be possible. And I like to remember the adage one of my senior officers put on top of his back of him. When you come before him, what you will see is, work so hard as if it were up to you, and pray so hard as if it were up to God. So this is the position we find ourselves in Nigeria. You have to work extremely hard and you have to pray very hard. But the situation, as I said, is not very nice. And our fallback position, we realized it early enough, is go back to the land. Go back to the land for a lot of able-bodied person and the solid minerals. And that we are working very hard behind the scene to get investments in those two fields.
Okay, Wale Aduroja, I guess, is a sports fan. He's concerned. His concern is that, Mr. President, on the allocation of Ministry of Youths and Sports, is asking what's the allocation for Ministry of Youths and Sports as regards Rio 2016.
I can't remember. I can't remember individual allocation, especially he is concerned to youth and sports. But what I knew, and I thank God I was not disappointed, when I got a recommendation for the youth going for the those who won the is it under 17, yeah, and other activities towards the next Olympic. I knew I approved it without any questions, so that we don't, cause problem. And we thank God that they have succeeded.